Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, live from the Ministry League studios in North Georgia, each week with John the Professor Podein and Paul Superman Sperlin, and with producer Caleb Sampson behind the glass on the Ministry League Network. And on all your other favorite platforms, here with all your ministry talk and the latest in news and sports. It's the John and Paul Show live.
Welcome to the John and Paul Show, brought to you by the Ministry League, brought to you by Piedmont Road Church of Christ in Marietta, Georgia, the LJ Church of Christ up in LJ, Georgia, the Calhoun Church of Christ up in Calhoun, and today with our special guest here that's joining us, we'll just say the Woodstock Church of Christ here in Woodstock, Georgia. I am John Podein. As you can tell, we have upgraded a little bit for this show. We have a better looking version of Paul. We have Jeremy Powell, who works with the youth at the Woodstock Church of Christ, joining us this morning. And because Paul's a little under the weather, Jeremy, Paul couldn't come on board this morning because the North Carolina Tar Heels lost the game on Monday, and he said, "I just can't do it. I can't face the crowd today."
Yeah, it's been a rough week for him. I hope he gets to feeling better soon, and I'm sure he's not. He's probably already telling us, all his friends and family, about how great Alabama is.
I'm sure he is. Yeah,
that's how
that goes.
It all turns to that.
Well, we are glad that you are joining us today and being here with us. What's funny is right now, I am literally pulling up to Paul's work at Piedmont Road Church of Christ to drop some stuff off, and he's not here. So, hey, we're still represented. But Jeremy, we're so glad you're with us with this day. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, we are glad. We do want to talk a little bit about what y'all been doing and the things that took place in Eastpoint. But before then, we do want to mention that registration is now open for the Ministry League experience, brought to you by the Piedmont Road Church of Christ. We are so glad and grateful that they're going to be hosting us this year, and it's going to be a wonderful event. We got tons of speakers. In fact, Caleb, you can go ahead and throw up that graphic there to show everybody it's going to be here. So many people, I believe, I count at 25 people that are going to be joining us this year with the Ministry League experience, and we're just thrilled it's going to be taking place. And Jeremy, y'all are going to be coming over for it, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We started talking about this at Woodstock. Piedmont Road's right down the street from us, basically. But there's a lot of buzz and excitement here at Woodstock for this event. Lots of great speakers. Going to be some great classes, and we're just really fired up. It's going to tie right in with what we're focused on this year at Woodstock. We're really focused on evangelism efforts out in our community, and this is going to go right along with that. We're really excited for it.
Yeah, we are too, because really what the exciting part of all of this is that that's what it does. It builds on how to grow young workers and workers that are just excited about going and spreading the gospel and helping people around. And so it's a little bit different from Exposure or CYC and some of those things. And so we're real excited about it coming here to the Atlanta area.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, since we are here and we're talking about the experience, one thing with the experience is trying to help encourage and train our young people to be able to go out and to spread the gospel better and to do work and do mission work. And we wanted you to come on board today and to talk to us a little bit about the work down in Eastpoint, Florida. Now, we did an interview with Mike and Jenny, I guess it was a few weeks ago, and the work that was going on down there, but you've been involved with that work at Eastpoint for a little while.
I have. I've been working with the youth at Woodstock for about 6 or 7 years now as the deacon here over the youth. And a couple of our kids had gone to Central America on mission trips and had done some things like that, which is fantastic. And it was a great experience for them. But those trips get a little expensive, and not everybody can afford to go on those kind of trips. And so I started looking around, and I asked one of our elders and deacons meeting one day, I was like, I need to find something that all of our kids can afford to participate in. And that was right after Hurricane Michael had hit the Gulf Coast and had ravaged that area. And they had one of our deacons owns property there on the Gulf, and he connected me with Mike and Jenny and said, he got us down. He connected me with Mike and Jenny and said, we've got a disaster relief truck coming. Y'all could go down and help unload that and distribute food to the community. And so we did that in February of 2019. That was our first trip down there. We got down there and we thought, like a lot of people, it's Florida. It's right there on the Gulf. It's $1 million homes and whatnot. And boy, were we shocked when we got down there and saw the poverty that is widespread and how what bad a shape the economy is in that area and whatnot. And so we realized quickly, we're like, oh, we've got a lot of work we could do down here, and these people need some help, and they weren't getting it from other places, other sources such as the government, and whatnot, right, that you would hope to help. That they just weren't there and weren't fulfilling the need. And so February was my 11th trip down there, and the last 3 years we've taken food, we've taken school supplies, we've taken adult and baby diapers. That's a big need there. Different things like that, Christmas presents in December, and trying what our goal is to hopefully reach out and help meet physical needs, and in turn that will give us an opportunity to meet their spiritual needs as well. And so right, that's our ultimate goal, is to meet their spiritual needs. And the church has really grown. I know Mike and Jenny mentioned when y'all talked to them a few weeks ago, when they first got down there, there were 2 or 3 people on a Sunday morning. And now there's between 30 and 40 on Sunday morning.
That's awesome.
Which is crazy growth rate. That's like a 900% growth.
Absolutely.
In 3 years or so. And I think, boy, if we had 900% growth here at Woodstock, we'd be, breaking down walls and building new buildings.
Yes.
I'd love to have that problem that they have, which they literally have broken down several walls in the building that they meet in, and to expand to make room. So it's been great for me personally to see. We live in a wonderful world of Woodstock where there aren't very many people that go hungry here, and we all have roofs over our heads and reliable transportation to get us from point A to point B, and that's just not the case there.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Jeremy, that some of the things you just mentioned there, oftentimes when we think of mission work, we're thinking overseas, we're thinking in a foreign country, we're thinking about doing that. And and then one thing you said, it is pricey. Travel most likely is generally what costs the most to right, try to do some of these things. I know we are gearing up for Scotland in 2023, and right now that is the biggest chunk of what the hindrance will be for some to be able to go. That is the right, cost of travel. But there was something else that you said within that about you expected to go to Florida, you expected to be on the beach, and it's $1 million homes and paradise. And it was just not that way. And what you've kind of described was almost what you would think we would find in a third world country, not here on the Gulf Coast of all places in the United States. And I know that had to be a shock to you and to your system going down there and seeing the people so much that were in need.
Absolutely. And Mike Johnson, the preacher down in Eastpoint, has even mentioned that. And he spent time in India, and he's seen third world India and knows what that looks like. And he mentioned, there are lots of India that is much better than Eastpoint, Florida is.
I think that's probably, and I guess let me ask this question. When you went down there, what was your automatic expectation that this is what you were going to do? Was it all evangelism? Did it change to be where it was meeting people's needs, or what was the goal in the original drive down and doing it for the first time?
My goal was to just help people get some food, get them over this hurricane, because supplies were running low, and that was my first goal was to just do that kind of thing. And then it quickly turned to, we're like, oh, there aren't a lot of churches down there. And there's just not a lot of spiritual help. And then we realized, we're like, oh, they need spiritual help more than they need physical, well, as much as they need physical help. And so that's how it kind of turned for us into doing both. The evangelism part became very important to us, and there have been multiple families that have joined the congregation because of a direct result of us going down there, and a couple of other congregations have gone down there as well to help out when we haven't been there. But they've helped out as far as distributing items and helping there in the church and reaching out, doing some door knocking and different things like that. So
Right.
that's so to answer your question, it turned to be, our first goal was to take care of some physical needs, and then we realized we needed to evangelize, and there are a lot of evangelism opportunities down there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think some of the times when we are trying to do mission work and trying to decide what we want to do is we've got to make sure we're meeting those needs. And a lot of places that we're going, people are starving physically,
Right.
and starving for just roofs over their heads. And like when y'all went down, especially recovering from the hurricane and all of that, it really probably opened the door just for y'all to get into people's lives and to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Absolutely. Absolutely it has. And that's been the most rewarding thing, is to see people who don't know Jesus learn and come to follow him. And that's been really neat to see. I've never seen it firsthand, like that. It's just really cool to see.
Well, and so tell me about this year. I guess you got some other people to be able to go down with you this year. Of course, LJ and Piedmont Road got to go down. Tell me a little bit about what took place in February. And I know we got a couple little guests that we want to bring on to talk to us a little bit of what took place.
Yes, sir. So we're kind of unique to a lot of school systems around. We have a week-long break in February here in Cherokee County and Cobb County as well. And so we've taken advantage of that by going down and spending a few days during that break. So we'll spend part of that time taking care of the community, distributing some food, inviting folks to worship, praying with them and whatnot. But on the back half of that trip, we turned it into a retreat for the kids. And so we had some Bible lessons, we had some games and whatnot, and it really allowed us to, allowed us to bond with our peers here in the church. That Piedmont Road is 15 minutes away, and LJ's an hour away the other direction, and it just it really gave us time to be together, to work together, which was a lot of fun, and a good for us to do, work as in the community, and then spend time together, just focused on God's word. And we had some good lessons. Paul and Caleb did a great job with some lessons for us when we were down there, and it was a tremendous retreat, as well as the evangelism and community outreach side of things. It was just really good for all of us.
Well, that's awesome. And I'd like for us to go ahead, Caleb, and bring in a couple of young members that were there, that were part of it, Caroline and Joseph. And guys, we're glad that you are joining us today. I guess you're glad to be out of school and on spring break. So we want everybody to know they're not skipping school. They really are on spring break this morning. So how are you guys doing this morning?
Good.
I'm good.
How are you?
Oh, may have froze on them. Sometimes that happens, Jeremy, in our wonderful world of technology.
Oh yes, that's okay.
So let me ask you, while they're getting they're there, kind of a little bit off and on.
I see them, John.
Okay, well, good.
They're good.
Well, Caroline, Joseph, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how old you are, and is this your first time doing this mission trip, or have you done this before?
I'm 13 and I'm in 7th grade. It's like my 5th time.
We got a lag. They're frozen now.
Down in Eastpoint.
A little bit. Well, let me ask you, Jeremy, since you've been doing this and taking kids. They come in and out there.
John, I think it might be your phone. They're wide open on mine and loud.
Oh, well, maybe that is mine. Whoops. I'm the problem here this morning.
I'm assuming. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, especially if we cut out here, you can kind of go ahead and kind of keep talking with them.
Sure.
But yeah, I'd love to hear what they thought of going down on this trip and the experience they got out of it.
Caroline, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then you can talk about the times y'all have gone down. Both of you can speak, but go ahead, Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm 16. I'm in 10th grade, and just like Joseph, I think we've been going about 5 or 6 times.
Maybe more.
This past time has been about that same number. But yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your experience down there the first time you went. And what kind of impact it made on you, what you enjoyed about it, what was eye-opening for you. Can you just talk about those things for us?
So the first time that I went, it was a small group of us, and we stayed in a beach house, or I guess, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 or so. And we stayed in a beach house, and it was not big enough for all of us. So me and 3 other girls slept in a closet together. But that's besides the point. The first time I went down there, I wasn't ready to see what we saw because, like my dad said, we live in the wonderful world of Woodstock, and we don't have, not a lot of people go hungry, and we don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from. And so it was really eye-opening to see all of these people who don't have it the way that I do, per se.
What was the biggest eye-opening part about that, Caroline? Because when we were talking beforehand, you had mentioned that. Is it because it's seeing it for the first time like that, or is it because it's actually here in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, you had mentioned earlier, you think that mission trip or poverty and things mostly are in Haiti and India and, outside of the United States. And to know that things like this happen in the United States, not so far from where we are right now, it was really eye-opening. And to see, like, as these people are coming through the lines, or as these people are coming through the line, it's very obvious that most of them are living in their cars. And
Wow.
it was kind of sad almost to see that.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah, the living conditions down there are very poor, widespread. It's not just 1 or 2 people, it's widespread. There's people that live literally under tarps and campers that, old campers that are 40, 50 years old and aren't taken care of, and the roofs are caving in, and storage sheds, like the storage sheds they sell in front of Lowe's and Home Depot out in the parking lot, those kind of storage sheds. There's people that live in those, and the walls are falling in, and it's not kind of sad. It's very sad to see folks live that way. But,
yeah, I'll be driving through downtown Atlanta here in about 15 minutes or so, and you can see some of that on the side of the interstate from time to time. But I guess what you're saying is it really shocked you a little bit that turned out that way. So Joseph, were you kind of getting that same feeling going down and experiencing this?
Yes, sir. I remember my first time down. I saw so many like old cars that you could tell, like Caroline said, people live in, but it seems like when I see those, it seems like impossible to live in those, like, because like they look so broken down and in a terrible condition, and it's just shocking to see how terrible they live in.
Another thing we've noticed over time, John, is as we've done these giveaways 2 or 3 times a year, is folks line up in their cars or on their bicycles or walk up or however they get there. But a lot of people that do have cars don't have car seats for their kids, and which just hurts to see. Like one time we were doing a giveaway a couple of summers ago, and there was a family that pulled in, and it was grandma and grandpa in the front seat and mom and 4 little boys, all under the age of 6, just not restrained in any way in the back seat at all. And it it scares me to know, if they're in a car accident and one of those little kids is going to go, maybe not fare so well. And it's not just one or two, it's widespread. And I just think that maybe there's not a place in Eastpoint to buy a car seat. There's no store to go and buy a car seat. And I just think they're just uneducated on car seats. But that's just been a big thing for me. And that's been a discussion for us on maybe raising some money to buy car seats and do a car seat distribution, because that's pretty important if you're driving around. And
absolutely,
also against the law. So that's been a big thing for me, is to see little kids bouncing around in the backseat of a car.
Well, Caroline, Joseph, let me ask you, how did people respond? Because y'all were there for the church. You're there as representatives of the Eastpoint Church of Christ that's sitting right there. How did people respond as far as when you were helping them out? And were they open to it? Were they then open to studying the Bible? What were their response?
They are so grateful. Like this past trip, so I walk around and I give out people during the giveaways. I will walk through the line and give people pamphlets about like the church, and just if you pull on around, they'll get you set up, whatever. And there was one lady who she had I gave her like all the information and whatever, and she just thanked me profusely, and she was so grateful for this canned food that we had set up for her. And she said, Mike and Jenny have done so much work down here, and it's just been so we're just so thankful. And it really, that kind of like struck me, because it's not like we were giving her gourmet food, and right. She was so grateful for it, and that really touched me.
Joseph, you got something?
It's basically the same thing that she said. It's crazy to see how gracious people are for canned food, like just a can of beans or something like that.
I'm curious, Jeremy, how many people do you think, you said that it's grown by close to 900% in this time? How many people do you think are a direct connection from the work that you've been doing down there, just helping people eat?
Oh, at least 50% of the congregation is a direct result of the giveaways and stuff that have gone on down there.
Wow.
Yeah. Just by simply handing somebody a bag of rice and some canned goods, it opens up a door, something that I can go and buy at the grocery store for $10, and hand it to somebody else that's in need, has really opened the door to teach people about Jesus.
Right.
And that just blows my mind. Something so simple makes such a big impact.
I'm curious, one thing, Caroline and Joseph, that we always hear from, especially as youth leaders or group leaders of taking people down, is that generally any of the young people that go on trips come back and they're the ones saying, we got more out of this trip than the people we help. Do you think that's true for you?
I think so. It's just crazy to see the things that people don't have that we do, things that we take for granted every day. And it really teaches you to enjoy the little things while you have them, because next minute you may not have them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Joseph, I'm curious if you could tell churches or church leaders or whoever it is, members of the church, what this mission trip has done for you, what would you tell them?
I would tell them it's made me realize what poverty actually is. When I knew what poverty was before I came down there, but I didn't know it was that extreme, and how terrible of a thing it actually is.
Does it change you guys' mind about the work of the church? Often we focus a lot of what we do in a building on Sunday or Wednesday, and coming to church and doing Bible classes, doing Lads to Leaders like Jeremy has his shirt on there, training people and stuff like this. And then that's where we focus a lot. Has trips like this changed your thought of what the church is supposed to do and be?
It definitely has for me. Before, I just thought church was something that I used to go to Sunday and Wednesday, and that was it. And it's kind of made me change my mind a little bit.
Okay. Caroline, you got an answer on that one? I'm
We
gonna throw you out there.
we've been doing an evangelism series during on Sundays, and our preacher has talked about how there are so many different ways that you can evangelize. Like, you can be a bringer, or you can be a teacher, or whatever. And he said that sometimes God is bringing these people to you, and these every person that is in this line to get this canned food is also a lost soul who we can help evangelize with. And Mr. Mike prays with almost every single one of those cars. And you best believe that the next Sunday, a lot of those people are in the church building, and they're just eager to learn. Because not only is it, here, please help me eat, but it's also, please help me spiritually.
Right.
And
Jeremy, how have you seen, and of course, I know you have a little special relationship with these children and everything that are around, but how have you seen your kids in your youth group and your adults that have gone with you on a trip? How have you seen these trips like this change them?
It has opened our eyes to, like I said before, we live in the wonderful world of Woodstock. Most of us are in the area, and it's just really opened our eyes to how different it is, and what an opportunity we have to help. And that's part of our responsibility as Christians, is to go and help. And that's really been the big thing for us, is to have the opportunity to spend some time together. We've really bonded. The adults have bonded. The kids have bonded, which has been a benefit for us on these trips. But the opportunity we have had to serve others has been tremendous, and that's really been the big thing for me.
I guess it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight of maybe what the first century church was like, of the idea of them having everything together and being fellowship with each other, and meeting with each other daily, and just
Absolutely.
interacting with other people in the world.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Well, Caroline, Joseph, what would you say out of the work that you did? I know y'all did a retreat. We'll talk about that in a second. But what would you say, as far as the mission trip part of the week? What would you say was the most exciting part, or the thing that you took the most out of this trip?
the most okay, I think I really like getting everything beforehand. I like to prepare everything to see what people have brought. But that's I also, like I mentioned earlier, I go and I talk to all the people, and I give them pamphlets about the church and everything. And I really enjoy doing that, because everyone is so different, and it's interesting to see, because I really get a one-on-one experience with these people, even if it's only for a few seconds. It's really interesting to see the different situations that everyone is in, because not everyone, it's not everyone is in the same situation. There's so many different things, and it's just interesting to see the different ways that people live.
Okay. Joseph, what do you think? What was the most exciting part for you out of this trip?
The most exciting part for me is definitely being able to help people who can't get stuff that we have here in Woodstock. As we said, wonderful Woodstock.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see that. Can I ask y'all too this, as young people, you've gone on this with your dad and everything, and they've helped make Christianity, if I can say it this way, come to life and get outside the building, where it's not just our routine that we do, and we, yes, worship God, absolutely, but the idea of that second command of loving your neighbor as yourself and going out and helping people. If you could talk to youth ministers that are watching this right now, adults, elders, deacons, even other teenagers like yourself that are sitting here watching this, what would you tell them what would be your message to them about doing works like this?
It's so beneficial to everyone. It may just seem, you talk to a person for a few seconds, you hand them a bag of food, and then they're on their way. But that does so much more than you realize to a person. They because they've experienced that kindness, and they just, I guess for me at least, I would want to know more about what their actual mission is, and that's what would bring me to the church. And I think it's so, even though it seems like you're just handing them a quick bag of food, it's a whole lot more than that, and it really brings people to Christ.
That's cool. Joseph?
It's the same thing that Caroline said.
Same.
For me, I would,
Has it made Christianity more real to you, for both of you?
definitely.
Jeremy, I think sometimes, and we try to raise our kids, and especially as youth leaders, we're teaching. We want this next generation to know the truth, and we are pushing hard at that, and getting them to learn about God and learn about the things, and teaching them salvation and stuff like this. But there's something about putting it into real life that I wonder if we miss sometimes in our local congregations.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy, like you said before, we worship on Sunday and Wednesday, and then it's easy to forget. But it's, it's real life and it's expected of us to go out and do things such as helping Eastpoint, helping right down the street from our house, and knock on our neighbor's door and say, hey, do you know who Jesus is? And we forget that. It's easy for us to forget that. But spending so much time with members of Woodstock, and now from Piedmont Road and LJ, and hopefully other congregations in the future, working together has been so tremendous for all of us. And helping us.
I know I mentioned it. I mentioned it last Sunday in Calhoun, and everybody, I have a group of people that were like, yeah, we're going. We're going next year. We're going when we go down there. Let us know what we can do. And that as a leader, you're like, yes, that's what we're hoping happens.
Absolutely. And Mike and Jenny, it's a small congregation, and I don't know that they'll ever be sustainable on their own without assistance from other congregations. I know several congregations send, Woodstock included, sends monthly support down there, and there's opportunities for that, but to get down there and get boots on the ground, so to speak, and actually see the work firsthand is just incredible. And I highly encourage, if any group, you don't have to go with us in February. That's there's many other opportunities to go down there during the summertime, during the weekend, whatever you have available. We can get you connected with Mike and Jenny to get down there and coordinate with them. You can sleep in their church building. I know that sounds a little different, but we have done it more than once. Air mattresses and whatnot, and spend a couple of nights there together is very much a bonding experience, isn't it, Caroline?
Hey, Caroline said she slept in a closet. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. One of our
Harry Potter there.
Yep, we've done that before. We had 19 of us in a house that was built for 8, and so we had to get creative that trip, but it worked out well, and it was a lot of fun. We had a good time together, and we usually do.
That's awesome. And Caroline, Joseph, thank y'all for joining us today. I know you're on spring break, but just to kind of hear it, Paul and I, we get a chance to get up here and we're talking, and we get to do some things. Jeremy, you get to do some things, but hearing it from you guys that actually are out there and are getting your hands and feet dirty for the Lord and reaching people. And I was glad that you joined us. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
And just sharing your experience with it. And so we'll definitely have to have y'all two back on to see how things have happened in the future. And everything.
Oh, good. Thank you for having us.
Definitely. Jeremy, one thing that we're trying to do with the experience, the Ministry League experience, is to help put into hands of people like Caroline and Joseph tools and resources to help them to be able to evangelize and be stewards for God and servants for God and his church. What do you think is probably one of the greatest challenges of helping young people grasp a hold of this concept of being there and helping other people?
I think sometimes the hardest part for a lot of kids, teenagers, is stepping out of their comfort zone and doing it. We're all comfortable with our small group of friends, but to actually go and speak to a stranger, sometimes it's not easy. And I think we struggle with that sometimes, and it's a hindrance for us. And I think, some people's personality is not good for that kind of thing. And so we just got to work through that and teach them it's okay to go and speak to other people. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to hurt you. And that's the biggest challenge.
They're not.
That's the biggest challenge I've seen with our youth group, is just stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something you're not, totally familiar with, and doing something a little different.
Well, and that's why we want to let everybody know that Memorial Day weekend, we're going to have the Creators Conference on the 26th. That'll be on a Thursday, but the experience really kicks in on the 27th. That night we're kicking off with David Shannon, and it's all about connecting and encouraging people and equipping people and challenging them to go to be that people. And not even at Eastpoint, like you said a second ago, even right next door, your neighbors and in the community where you live there in Woodstock and where I'm at in Calhoun and every other community that are representative people watching this, of just being, I've just to finish the series at Calhoun on being salt and light, of being that salt and light person to the people that are around you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, Jeremy, I appreciate you joining me today, and I'm definitely going to have to, we're definitely going to have you back here, especially since, we've upped our game a little bit in looks here.
I don't know about that.
But we are glad. We hope Paul's actually sick, everybody. So we do hope he gets well. He's got him some good drugs going in him right now. Try to get it. Jeremy, he's not used to being here in Georgia. He's come from Alabama and the pollen right now. When it covers your vehicle, he's got to get used to that.
Absolutely. It's like a snowfall sometimes, but it's yellow.
It is. That's one thing. I actually was happy with the rain that came through. Yep. I know there were some storms that came off of it, and people are rebuilding their lives after tornadoes, and definitely are praying for them. But I was happy for the rain to knock some of that down.
Absolutely. It was a big help. It was like a yellow river draining down the gutters.
Oh, it absolutely was. Absolutely was. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for joining us and today, and we'll definitely have to come back and good luck next week. I know Lads to Leaders, a lot of people who are watching this are going to be doing Lads to Leaders next week. So wherever you're at, good luck and be safe with everybody's traveling.
And before we run off here, I want to mention, if anybody that's listening out there is curious and wants more information about Eastpoint, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook. You can send me a message there. I'm here at Woodstock. So please don't hesitate. If you have questions, I can get you connected with Mike and Jenny down there and get your youth group or your group from your congregation down there to help.
Absolutely, man. And so, well, I hate to say for Paul Spurlin, who's not here, but for Jeremy Powell, John Podein, Caleb Sampson behind a glass, we're so grateful for all of his help. He's over in Florence, Alabama right now with his family. And so thanks for taking the time out to do this. This has been the John and Paul Show, and we will see you not next week because it's Lads to Leaders week and everything, but we'll see you back in 2 weeks, and we'll talk more about, there's Mike there.
Hey, Mike. Yep.
There's Mike there. There's the minister down there at Eastpoint. And so definitely contact Jeremy, contact Mike, and a lot of wonderful work coming out of it. Guys, we hope that everybody has a wonderful day. God bless you, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.